Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick, American Season 5, Episodes 8 and 9, Immersion and IHOP. Meredith, Alonso, we have been back. I really was moved by the scenes in which Elizabeth talks to Paige about having been assaulted.
Yeah.
And I thought that, again, as much as this is a spy show with spy stuff, it is a show about a family, and it's a show about immigrants, and it's a show about a lot of different things that are on a really human level. And I could see a mother having that conversation with her daughter at a certain age. We're like, you know what? You're old enough to know this thing, and it's part of what shaped me as to who I am, because I was raped, but I got through it, and I want you to know about it. And so that I thought felt really delivered on just like a human being level.
I really appreciated that because in many ways I identify with Elizabeth. I'm not a spy secretly, but the way that she
you do make interesting hair choices.
I do make interesting hair choices. It's my spy get up today. But the way she handled it was, rape is dealt with on so many different levels in television, and a lot of times I don't feel the same authenticity as that it's handled in real life. And we see a lot about like how it can eat a person up, but rarely do we talk about the women who overcome it in a way that they're like, no, you know what? I got past it, and I'm to the point that I will never let it happen again. And I loved that from her. That strength was like, it spoke to me on a very deep and personal level, and I was appreciated. Thank you, FX, for that.
It was everyone who's watched television, and obviously I don't have any personal experience with this, but I know from watching television that what happens there is the daughter runs into her mother's arms and they have a tender, loving moment, and it's okay, it's nice. And so just that, again, the Americans does not, literally her hand comes up.
Yeah.
No, Paige, I'm past it, and I don't need a hug. Yeah. I need you to be strong.
Exactly.
And that was, you're like, oh, wow, look at that, right? Yeah. That was, deft. I'm going to go down in this.
I know, right? But it was good. I think it was good for Paige because she's been struggling with the parking lot attack for so long, and seeing that strength is like, well, wait, bad things, really terrible, scary things happen, but we can move past them.
Yeah, and even if you aren't like the child of spies, you should maybe be ready to defend yourself in this world. I have to say, there's one subplot that I'm not entirely sure how it fits into everything else. And maybe there's a key scene that I wasn't paying attention, but the whole thing with the asset that Stan and his partner are trying to bring in, the woman is she from TASS, right? From the news agency?
From TASS, yeah.
I'm not quite sure what that's about and how it ties into everything else.
And they seem to do it like every other episode.
Yeah.
Like it's not a super consistent one, but I'm sure it's gonna.
I think, we don't know. I mean, part it was a vehicle to have Stan defend Oleg and keep his job, right? So it kept him from getting fired in it turns out his boss is cool, which no one thought that boss was gonna be cool. And it's a way of showing, like, part of this season is, well, of course, this is not exactly related to them, although I assume at some point they're gonna hear from Margot Martindale that they think there's an employee at TASS who may be compromised. You got to start watching her. But there's like they have 5 different things going on. We'd totally forgotten about his high school student.
Yeah, I know. When Kimmy came back, I was like, oh yeah, Kimmy.
I was so confused when that happened when I was watching it last night. I was like, wait, who did I miss an episode? And I'm like, oh yeah.
So for everybody though, there's so many things going on, right? So many threads. But yes, right now we don't know, other than maybe just to show that this was a big part of what we did too.
Sure.
We're also spying, but we'll see. At some point, I imagine that she's going to come into or that they sent her to spy, like that she's really good at being a reluctant double spy.
It seems too convenient if that's how Stan and Philip and Elizabeth would get like closer just by that.
Oh, that might right. It may be the vehicle by which they.
There was a misleading next time on that made me think that was going to happen, but actually no. It was them actually keeping an eye on Tuan, as it turns out, and having to follow him to Harrisburg.
By the way, before we get off the TASS woman, for years, when I would come home to Washington, let alone when I lived in DC during this era, this is my formative years. I would always eat at Bowie Mongers, and I would eat at a Chinese restaurant that everybody else hated called Yenching Palace, but the best garlic chicken in the world. And I would go to Armand's. like going to Armand's, which is where she went
for
lunch,
pizza,
for
right,
deep dish pizza. It was our version of Chicago pizza, and it was the greatest thing ever. And then for 15 years when I came home, my dad and stepmom would be like, so you're here for dinner? I'm like, nope. What Armand's? I'll be happy to bring it back, but I'm going. Yeah, it's gone now.
Speaking of terrible children, we have Henry volunteering to go to boarding school, right? Which tells you a lot about Philip and Elizabeth's
first episode ever with Henry and no Paige. Like Paige was not in that episode.
Yeah. This might be actually. Yeah.
I mean, I still feel like we're headed for something with Henry. And he's such a nice. He's not even that. He doesn't even seem bitter or angry or that he's going to have to go to therapy about it.
He's super straightforward. Like, can I get out of here, please?
Like I thought when he was saying, "Yeah, I'm doing really well, and my friends are doing really well, and we're all cheating off this kid," right? Yeah. But no, he's just
It's a convenient
wants
way
to
to
learn.
write him out, though, if he wants. If that actor has gotten booked for something else, or they haven't really had a strong stuff to do with Henry. It's like if they want it now.
I think they would just do it then.
Yeah.
Then they'd be like, Henry's going to go to boarding school. They do one. I don't think they'd.
It'd be like Don Draper's son. Like were there like 3 different Bobby Drapers? I think over the course of the show because they never did anything with him anyway.
Maybe, but it's possible. And then they would think, no, we're not going to do it cheaply. We'll give him a storyline, and it's just. But I mean, I don't know. This was episode 9. I think The Americans does 13. I think it does one more than like the Showtime shows, which do 12.
Yes.
So there are 4 more episodes.
Yes.
Nothing has happened this season, and I'm not knocking the show. I love it, but I know some people are. But I mean, literally, there are no events. Like, and even our big moment of drama, which they I think unfortunately gave us on coming next week, was the grab of Tuan when he comes back into the house.
Right.
Which we knew was coming because we'd watched that, which irritated me because that would have at least been one moment of who's there? Oh, it's them. But.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like Gabriel left. I mean, there's not, Paige is breaking up with Matt or with Maggie.
We got the grab this week.
Right, but I know what you're saying. Like, overall, it's not like that season where we have to solve the murder of our friends that we didn't have last season.
I'm actually kind of glad.
And I think that's one of the good things about the show is that we don't have to have a giant thing. This can be sort of a character-based thing. And
frequently the criticism of The Sopranos from people who I watched it with, and which they'd be like, man, there's just a lot of talking, and this has been 9 episodes of talking with a little intermittent, and there's been some spying, and obviously her going.
And who's running the Food Network in Russia? That's
right. And this beautiful, my favorite line maybe in the history of the Americans of him saying, "Look, I'm sorry, I should have been. I'm married, and it's not." And then, hey. It's like, oh my God.
Oh yeah, we should totally talk about him getting his groove back on that. That was brilliant.
But I mean, all he needed to say was he recognized it. Just make it wrong for her.
Yeah.
Like her feeling like it was just normal.
Yeah.
She's not into that. She got to be breaking a rule.
Yeah.
She follows rules in her entire life.
Right.
Her sex life is going to be dangerous.
Yeah.
So it was just really a great piece of, and Philip just almost like he wanted to, he wanted Elizabeth there so he could be like, yeah, see?
Oh man, and then I love Oleg. I love Oleg so much.
Yeah, of course,
But
me too.
having them come into the apartment,
right?
Go through his stuff, and then his dad's like, "I'll take care of this." I'm like, no, it's cool. Everything's like Oleg is just trying to play it by the books. He's trying to be like,
I burned everything. It's okay, Dad. Don't worry.
Exactly.
The dad's monologue about the mother going to the camp, I thought
oh my God,
it was really good.
It was really great. But I'm kind of fascinated. It's like, who is this guy who is not afraid of the KGB but is afraid of the Food Network?
Yeah.
Right.
What the hell,
Yeah, it's and we don't and is Stan is well, I guess still he's not convinced, but he had the weird scene with John Boy's wife,
widow, right,
where all we get is he'd want revenge, and so Stan's like, because Stan knows, no, he wouldn't.
No, that's what he said.
And of course, we know they didn't kill him.
Yeah.
They tried to recruit him. I guess they're culpable for his death, but they didn't. They weren't. Their mission wasn't to kill.
Right.
He jumped through. He panicked. He jumped through the window and he cut his neck. Right.
And again, it's like you think he thinks he's got the Oleg thing behind him. It's like, oh, they're going to keep dragging back the fucking Oleg thing until we do something with it.
Right. Until I just finally go, fine, do it.
Well, but now we have Oleg. Like we have the moment where he can break off from the KGB because this investigation keeps going further and further, and he's losing trust in his government.
Sure.
Having been pulled in for questioning and then knowing the history with his mom, I think he's it's more likely he's going to defect now.
Totally. I mean, and he has. I mean, his mom is it, and I don't know whether 60-year-old women are who they'd punish you with. Also, their punishment era is coming to an end. They may not see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't know it.
They don't. Well, I'm sure probably the smart people saw that it might be coming, or that. But anyway, he's a guy who could defect. Like, I mean, he's, you know.
We're still in the between Brezhnev and Gorbachev window, right? Here, like
we haven't heard anything of Gorbachev.
And
yeah,
years,
Gorbachev.
right?
Yeah, if it's still 83, 84, we're still prior.
Right, because we haven't had Reagan's re-election campaign. He won that way, didn't he?
I want to say yes.
I want to say.
Also, guys, Martha,
yes. Lest we forget.
Oh my God, the whole Martha and Gabriel scene.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Well, now the feud is over.
Yeah.
You know, she was freed up to come back to the Americans.
But she's also on Sneaky Pete, and she showed up. Did she show up on? She did not show up on Better Call Saul. Did you?
No.
Yeah.
But we've been talking about the interconnectivity of all these shows, you know, because Carrie Coon is on Fargo and Leftovers. There's a whatchamacallit candy bar reference this week on both The Americans and Fargo.
Is that right?
Yes.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. It's a shared universe.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we catch up with Martha, he is totally lying to her, and she now totally knows it.
I know.
What's he lying to her about?
Well, that he's in communication with Philip, he's in communication with her parents. I don't think any of that's happening.
Well, no, they did call the parents. They did tell her, they did call the parents. And Clark Phillip did insist on that. It's true, it's been a while, we don't really know.
But the whole thing that he wanted to write you a letter, you know, that stuff's like,
Yeah, but I think intentionally he knew that he would.
I mean, it's not untrue that Philip felt terrible about and cared about Martha.
That's true.
I think what Gabriel was trying to do is
she just doesn't care. Like great, thanks, terrific. Oh, that's really warms my heart. I'm by myself eating a freaking baked potato in the worst apartment in the world, and I have no friends except my translator who doesn't even come to see me.
Right. And eventually I'll learn enough Russian that I can go work for in publishing. You know, in Soviet Russia. That's going to be a thrill.
But I feel like Gabriel just coming back to Russia and realizing he doesn't have anything there. He doesn't have anyone. I think he was almost reaching out.
Right. I think
that's true.
He wanted Martha, right? Not wanted her like physically, but like.
Let's just be honest though. There was a moment there. I'm like,
totally. I thought so too.
I'm like, no.
We're gonna get the.
Were you shipping them?
I was totally shipping them.
What does that mean?
Relationship, when fans want two characters to get together.
Shipping. Relationship-shipping. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I thought like this is just so depressing because he's like, your Russian gets better, and then you could meet a 58-year-old whose wife died of alcohol poisoning. It'd be great.
Yeah. Yay. It does make me wonder though. After the fall of the USSR, will Martha stay or will she find a way back? Speculating like way beyond the show, but
I mean, is she technically culpable for spying on the FBI?
I think we'll find. I think they'll also.
Yeah, she would. I mean, a change in government of the Soviet Union to old school Russia wouldn't make her not culpable. No. It might make a degree of, you might find people of some understanding, or I mean, those things could be negotiated. Literally, the Russians could say, we have some people who'd like to come home, and we need a promise of, and you give us some people or whatever. And I mean, all that's possible, but you would like Martha to be able to come home and see her parents and go to Minnesota. But I mean, it's crazy. She did not think she was spying. She did not mean to spy. And this horrible, horrible set of circumstances. Just essentially, I mean, it must feel like you're in prison.
No, totally, and you can't even blame anybody because you feel like you were duped, which she was,
Yeah, and just what's her name? Allison.
I'm blanking. The actress, she's great. Yes.
But to play those dramatically different roles, and it's almost like. It's almost like 3 roles.
Allison Wright.
Allison Wright. So, she plays the receptionist, Martha. She plays Martha in Russia, and then to see her as the producer on Feud.
Yes.
It's just like, I mean, anyway, and so there was a photo on Twitter that I retweeted because it was Rhea Seehorn and Allison Taylor. And you were just Allison Wright, excuse me. And Holly Taylor plays Paige, sorry. So you're like, wow, this is like, and so I got in some discussion, I don't know whether you saw, of people saying there's no good character actors, where.
What?
Right, I'm like, no, they've never, ever ever been better.
No, it's
and I
insane.
threw out Rhea Seehorn and Allison Wright.
And Margot fucking Martindale, please. You know,
Right,
come
and
on.
and what was the Fargo girl's first? Tolman.
Oh, Allison Tolman.
I was like, there are too many Allisons,
yes.
right? I was like, her name can't also be Allison. And Allison Tolman from Fargo. I'm like, they're, you know, to say nothing of Jonathan Banks, and like, there's just we're overwhelmed with these great character actors. Yeah,
I mean, I would put Carrie Coon in that category.
Definitely.
totally.
Sure.
Yeah. We're inundated with quality character actors.
That is part of the golden age of television. It's a great opportunity for writers, but also for actors who can handle this kind of material. And there's too many fucking shows to keep up with.
Yeah.
It's only going to get worse.
I know. You know, bless y'all's heart. Whenever I get a tweet or somebody that's like, "Oh, hey, are you guys going to review?" I'm always like, we are all going to spend the rest of our lives watching the shows that are on right now.
I know.
Right. All right.
True.
Anyway,
Good stuff.
but we're going to watch this one.
But because I think nothing has happened, and I don't mean that critically, like we are building up for a final, an intense final, I suspect, 2 or 3 episodes.
And with only one more season to go, obviously.
Right,
So there's
Not ready.